Welcome back, Thicket Walkers. And if you're new here, I'm glad you found us. Pull up a chair and get cozy because it's Christmas Eve, a night when most people are settling in with cocoa and carols, wrapping last minute gifts, waiting for something magical to happen. But here in the Thicket, we tell different stories. Over the past week, you've met 5 Christmas creatures from across the world, spirits that don't even wait for you to be asleep, legends that don't promise presents, traditions that remind us not every visitor at Christmas brings joy. Tonight, we're going deeper. No more 60-second glimpses. Tonight, you get the full stories, where these creatures came from, why people believe in them, and why centuries later, we still can't quite let them go. So grab something warm, settle in, and let's walk the thicket together through 5 countries and 5 legends. Before we begin, I want to hear from you. Do you have family folklore? A Christmas legend your grandparents told? Something that happened in your town that no one talks about anymore? Drop it in the comments. We Thicket Walkers love a good story. Okay, ready? Let's start in Scandinavia, where a very small, very particular spirit has been watching you all year. Picture this, a Scandinavian farmhouse in the dead of winter. Snow piled against the walls, livestock huddled in the barn, your family surviving on stored grain and hope that spring will come again. And somewhere in the shadows, in the barn, the attic, maybe under the floorboards, something small is watching. The Nissa, a household spirit no taller than a child, dressed in gray wool and a red cap, with a long white beard and eyes that miss nothing. He's been here longer than your family, longer than the farm itself, and he has opinions about how you treat his home. The Nissa, also called Tomte in Sweden, is woven deep in Scandinavian folklore. Some say his name comes from Niels, a common farmer's name. Maybe these spirits were once the souls of the first people who worked this land, who guarded it even after they were gone. Others trace the Nissa even further back, to the old beliefs in land spirits being tied to a place, whose favor you needed if you wanted a good harvest, or just to make it through the winter. Life in the north was never easy. Winters stretched for months. The darkness was deep, and survival could depend on tiny details: a well-tended barn, a closed door, remembering those who came before you. For many, the Nissa wasn't just a story. He was a presence, sometimes glimpsed, always felt. Someone who could help or make trouble, depending on how you treated him. The Nissa isn't evil. He's territorial. If you treat him well, if you leave him porridge on Christmas Eve with a thick pat of butter melting on top, he'll protect your farm. He'll keep the animals healthy, guard against thieves, make sure harvest is good. But if you forget him, if you're careless, if you disrespect his home, the punishments are small, petty, relentless. Your tools vanish, the animals get sick, food spoils overnight. You wake up with your belongings rearranged, or your clothes tied in knots, or the barn doors left open in a snowstorm. And here's the thing about the Nissa. He doesn't forget. There's a story from Norway about a farmer's wife who served the Nissa his Christmas porridge, but forgot the butter. She just forgot. The next morning, something was wrong in the barn. The family's best cow was gone. And when they found the butter, still fresh, still perfect, tucked away where only the Nissa could have hidden it, they understood. The Nissa had taken back what he was owed. That's the Nissa. Not a monster, not a demon, just inflexible. A spirit who keeps score. So why did this legend stick? Because the Nissa taught respect. In a world where survival depended on maintaining your farm, your animals, your relationships, forgetting the small things could mean disaster. The Nissa reminded people, pay attention, show gratitude, honor the work that came before you. And even today, Thousands of Scandinavian families still leave out porridge on Christmas Eve. Some do it because their grandparents did. Some do it just in case. Some do it because deep down, they like the idea that someone, something is watching over the home. Would I want a Nissa? Maybe, as long as I never forget the butter. Ready for the next one? Let's head to Iceland, where 13 brothers are coming down from the mountains one by one, and they're very interested in what you're eating. From Scandinavia, we travel north and west to Iceland, a volcanic island perched on the edge of the world where winter nights stretch impossibly long, and survival has always meant community, preparation, and a little hope. But starting 13 nights before Christmas, hope alone isn't enough, because one by one, 13 brothers descend from the mountains. And they don't come all at once, they come in sequence, a new visitor every night, and each one has a specialty. The Yule lads are among the strangest Christmas figures anywhere. Their roots run deep, back to Iceland's harsh medieval winters, when life was isolated, dangerous, and the unknown pressed in on every side. Some say the Yule lads were cautionary tales, reminders not to waste, not to be careless, especially when every resource really mattered. But others see them as something older, spirits or trolls from the wild mountains coming down in winter to test the people in the valleys. Okay, here's what we know. The Yule lads weren't always the playful pranksters you see on postcards today. In the old days, they were a darker presence. Children who misbehaved weren't just threatened with coal. They were told the Yule lads might grab them, or the Gria, their monstrous mother, would come down from the mountains for her stew. The stories grew so intense that in the 18th century, the Iceland government actually tried to ban scaring children with tales of Gria. But the Yule lads survived. They changed with the times. They stuck around. Here's how it works. Starting December 12th, one Yule lad arrives each night. 13 brothers, 13 nights, 13 very specific nuisances. There's Sheepcoat Clod, harasses your sheep. Gully Gawk, hides in the gully, stealing milk from the barn. Stubby, short and hungry, snatches pans for leftovers. Spoon Licker, licks spoons, obviously. Pot Scraper, scrapes the pots. Bowl Licker, hides under beds waiting for empty bowls. Door Slammer, slams doors all night long. Scree Gobbler, steals your scree. That's like Icelandic yogurt. Sausage Swiper, lurks in the rafters swiping sausages. Window Peeper, peers through the windows. Doorway Sniffer, stands at your doorway sniffing for bread. Meat Hook, lowers a hook down the chimney for meat. And Candle Stealer, he takes your candles, leaving you in darkness during the longest nights of the year. On their own, each one's a pest, but together, they are relentless. First arrives on December 12th, the 13th on Christmas Day. By then, your home is under siege. Every door slam, every missed sausage, every stolen candle, every weird sound in the night. You know exactly who's responsible. And you can't stop them. You can only wait for them to leave, one by one, starting December 25th. So why do the Yule lads endure? Because their story captures the real feeling of an Icelandic winter. That pressure, the slow buildup of trouble, the way hardship doesn't strike all at once. It piles up day by day. One frozen pipe, one sick animal, one pot of spoiled food. By the time you realize how much you've lost, winter has you surrounded. But the Yule lads also taught something else. Lock your doors. Watch your supplies. Don't waste a thing. Stay alert. And if you do behave, if you're careful, the Yule lads might leave you a small gift in your shoe. Would I want the Yule lads visiting? No. I think 13 nights of someone sniffing my doorway would be enough to make me leave out extra bread just in case. Ready for the next one? Let's head to Greece where the goblins aren't just annoying, they're trying to end the world. From Iceland's frozen mountains, we travel south to Greece, to a land where winter is gentler, where olive groves sleep under soft snow, and the sea never quite freezes. But for 12 days every Christmas, something crawls up from the underground. Goblins. Dozens of them, maybe hundreds. And they're not here to steal your food or play pranks on your livestock. They're here to saw through the world tree. The Kalikonzeroi, sometimes called Christmas goblins, are rooted deep in Greek folklore with origins that blend pagan belief and Christian tradition. The name itself may come from Caelus Cantorus, meaning beautiful centaur, though there's nothing beautiful about these creatures. In older beliefs, the world rested on a great tree, a cosmic pillar holding everything together. And deep underground, the Kalikonzeroi spend all year sawing away at its roots, trying to bring it down. I wonder why. I mean, what do they think they're going to do once the tree comes down? Just saying. But every year, just as they were about to succeed, just as the final fibers were about to snap, Christmas arrived. And on Christmas, the world was blessed. The tree healed and renewed itself. Furious and exhausted, the goblins abandoned their work and crawled up to the surface to cause chaos for the 12 days of Christmas. Why 12 days? Because in the old calendar, Christmas to Epiphany, December 25th to January 6th, was a time when the barriers between worlds were thin and the usual rules didn't quite apply. During those 12 days, the Kalikonzeroi were free. The Kalikonzeroi are grotesque. Descriptions vary, but most agree they're hairy, twisted, somewhere between human and animal, with long claws, red eyes, and the smell of rot clinging to them. Some legends give them animal legs: goat, donkey, horse. Others say they're wrapped in matted black fur. All agree they're filthy, drenched in the stink of underground places. And for 12 nights, they're everywhere. They slip down chimneys, spoil food, break tools, make a mess of the house, and leave families exhausted and uneasy by morning. They foul your wells, they ruin supplies, they turn ordinary homes into places that feel wrong. Some stories warn parents to watch their children closely during those nights to keep them protected, blessed, and never left unattended. But Greek families didn't face this unprepared. Some hung a pig's jawbone on the door to keep the goblins away. Others placed a colander or sieve on the doorstep or roof. The Kalikonzeroi would stop to count the holes, but they could only ever count to two. Saying three was forbidden, too holy, a number tied to the Trinity. So they'd mutter endlessly, one, two, 1, 2, until sunrise chased them off. Some families burned old shoes or bones in the hearth. The smell alone was said to drive the goblins away, and if a child was born during those 12 days, special care was taken. Prayers, blessings, protection to keep them from being marked by the season. Relief finally came on Epiphany, January 6th, when priests blessed the waters. Kalikonzeroi, unable to stand the holy presence, fled back underground to start sawing at the world tree once again. So why does this legend endure? Because the Kalikonzeroi captured a very real fear that the world is fragile, that disaster is always one moment away, that the things holding your life together, your home, your health, your luck, are thinner than you think. The 12 days of Christmas, for all their celebration, was also a time of vulnerability. The old year was dying. The new one hadn't quite begun. Everything felt uncertain. The Kalikonzeroi gave people something to do with that anxiety. Keep the fires burning. Protect the household. Stay vigilant. Would I want to deal with the 12 Nights of Goblins trying to saw down the foundation of reality? Absolutely not. But I'd keep that fire burning and maybe hang a colander on the door, just in case. Ready for the next one? Let's head to Italy, where a witch has been searching for 2,000 years and she's not stopping anytime soon. Okay, from Greece, we cross the sea to Italy, to terracotta rooftops dusted with snow, stone villages lit by candlelight, and the smell of baking bread drifting through narrow streets. But on the night of January 5th, Epiphany Eve, something flies through the Italian darkness. Not Santa, not an angel, a witch. Old, bent, covered in soot from 1,000 chimneys, carrying a sack of gifts and a broom that might be for more than just sweeping. Her name is La Befana, and she's been searching for 2,000 years. La Befana's origins are tangled, part pagan, part Christian, woven together over centuries until it's impossible to separate them. Some trace her back to the ancient Roman midwinter festivals, to a goddess who flew through the night, bringing blessings or curses, depending on the household. Others see her as a Christian echo of older Italian folklore, the wise woman, the crone, the keeper of thresholds and seasons. But the story most Italians know goes like this. 2,000 years ago, on a cold winter's night, travelers appeared at an old woman's door, wise men, following a star, to find the newborn Christ child. They invited her to come with them, but she was busy. Her house needed cleaning. She had work to do. She told them she'd catch up later. By the time she finished her chores and set out to follow the star, gone. The star had moved on. The child was lost to her. And ever since, La Befana has been searching, flying house to house on Epiphany Eve, leaving gifts for children, hoping that one of them might be him. La Befana doesn't look like Santa Claus. She's not jolly. She's not round. She's a haggard old woman in dark, tattered robes, her face lined with soot, a hooked nose, eyes that have seen too much. She flies on a broomstick and comes down your chimney in the dead of night. If you've been good, kind, respectful, attentive, she fills your stocking with candy, fruit, small toys. If you've been bad, coal, or sometimes dark candy shaped like coal, as a reminder. But here's what makes La Befana different. She doesn't just drop off gifts and leave. She sweeps. Every house she visits before she goes, she takes out her broom and sweeps the floor. Because old habits die hard. The woman who was too busy cleaning to follow the wise men still can't leave a house without tidying it first. And there's something about that image, an ancient witch alone in your house in the middle of the night, silently sweeping your floor, that's more unsettling than any amount of coal. Italian families leave out wine and food for her, not milk and cookies, wine, because La Befana has had a long night and she's still searching. And if you forget the wine, well, she's got a broomstick and she knows how to use it. So why does La Befana endure? Because her story is about regret, about the moments we miss, the chances we don't take because we're too busy, too distracted, too focused on the wrong things. She's not a monster. She's not evil. She's just someone who made a choice and has been trying to fix it ever since. And maybe that's why Italian children still hang their stockings on Epiphany Eve, because they want to believe that even after 2,000 years of searching, La Befana hasn't given up. Would I want La Befana visiting my house? As long as I remember the wine, I think I'd be okay with it. Ready for the last one? Let's head to Wales, where a horse skull wrapped in white is singing at your door, and you'd better sing back. From Italy, we travel north and west to Wales, to rolling hills blanketed in snow, stone cottages with smoke curling from chimneys, and the sound of voices singing in the winter night. But this isn't caroling. This is a challenge, because at your door, draped in white sheets and ribbons, crowned with bells and evergreen, stands a horse's skull on a pole. And it's here to outsing you. The Marie Louise, the Grey Mare, is one of Wales' oldest and most mysterious Christmas traditions. Its origins are murky, lost somewhere in pre-Christian past, tangled with pagan midwinter celebrations, seasonal symbolism, and the Welsh love of poetry and song. Some believe the Marie Louise represents the turning of the year, the skull a reminder that the winter brings darkness, but the light and life always returns. Others see it as a wassailing tradition, a way to bring luck and fertility to the house by inviting a spirit across the threshold. Here's what we know for certain, that by the 18th and 19th centuries, the Marie Louise was a beloved and slightly feared part of Welsh Christmas. Here's how it worked. A group of wassailers would take a horse's skull, a real one, cleaned and decorated, mount it on a pole, drape it in a white sheet, tie ribbons and bells to it, and sometimes they would rig the jaw so it could snap open and closed. Then, on a cold winter's night, they'd carry it door to door, singing. When the Marie Louise arrives at your door, the wassailers don't just ask to come in. They challenge you. It's called punco, a battle of wits in verse. The wassailers sing a verse, often cheeky or mocking, asking to be let inside. And you, the people in the house, have to sing back, answer in rhyme, match their cleverness, defend your threshold. Insult for insult, verse for verse, back and forth, sometimes for 10 minutes, sometimes for half an hour, until one side runs out of rhymes or stamina. If the Marie Louise outsings you, you have to let it in. And once that skull crosses your threshold, chaos follows. The wassailers flood into your home, drinking your ale, eating your food, singing loudly, laughing. The Marie Louise wanders through the house, its jaw snapping at guests, chasing everyone, making people nervous and delighted in equal measure. It's not malicious, it's celebratory, but it's also unsettling, because you've just invited a decorated horse skull into your home, and it's having a great time. Eventually, after enough food, drink, and song, the Marie Louise leaves, and the wassailers move on to the next house. But you've been marked. The Marie Louise was there, and your home is blessed, or at the very least visited by something older than Christmas itself. So why does the Marie Louise endure? Because it's about community, about welcoming the strange, about not taking yourself or even darkest nights too seriously. The Marie Louise is a skull, a symbol of the old year passing, of darkness before the return of light. But it's also draped in white, crowned with ribbons and bells, singing and celebrating. It reminds us that winter is dark, that mysteries surround us, but that we survive it together with song, with laughter, with ale, and with the courage to open the door, even when we don't know what's waiting on the other side. Would I want the Marie Louise at my door? If I'm being honest, I'd absolutely panic trying to think of rhymes. But I'd open the door, pour the ale, and hope the skull was feeling generous. Because some traditions, no matter how strange, are worth keeping alive. And that brings us to the end of our journey. 5 countries, 5 creatures, 5 legends that have traveled across centuries, shaping winter nights, bringing families together, and reminding us that this season has always been a time for wonder, mystery, and community. 5 creatures, 5 traditions, 5 reminders that Christmas hasn't always been about shopping malls and matching pajamas. The Nissa teaching us that respect and gratitude aren't optional, they're survival. The Yule lads showing us that winter's pressure builds slowly, relentlessly, until you're surrounded. The Kali Kanzaroi reminds us that the world is more fragile than we think, and that the forces trying to tear it down never really stop. La Befana, still searching after 2,000 years, still sweeping floors, still hoping to fix the one moment she missed. And the Marie Louide, a skull wrapped in celebration, challenging us to sing, to open our doors, to face the strange with courage and ale. These stories weren't meant to scare, they were meant to prepare, to remind people that winter was dangerous, that survival required attention, community, and respect for the old ways. And maybe in our world of climate control and grocery delivery, we've forgotten what it felt like to truly depend on the season's mercy. But these creatures remember. So, if you find yourself leaving out porridge this Christmas, or checking your locks 13 times, or keeping the fire burning just a little longer than usual, don't worry. You're honoring something old, something that's been walking beside humanity for a very, very long time. Thank you for spending Christmas Eve here in the thicket. Thank you for walking with me through the darkness. If you have your own family folklore, your own Christmas creatures, your own winter legends, I want to hear them. Drop them in the comments. We thicket walkers are always listening. And to all of you celebrating tonight, whether you're with family, alone by the fire, or somewhere in between, may your fire stay warm and may your stories stay dark. I'll see you in the thicket.